Hi, I'm Neil Jones, part of the Night Fright restoration team. Here on a cold, blustery Saturday, volunteering just to help out on Night Fright. Back in January, we removed an original bulkhead from the lavatory of the Canadian sea footage sound that some of you might have seen on our previous videos. Night Fright was missing altogether, so we had nothing, and they don't come up very often for sale. So when the opportunity arose to get the one from Canada, we took it. Now, the condition of it wasn't the greatest in the world, but beggars can't be choosers. However, 3 months now down the road, the guys decided looking into its installation, and inside Night Fright, you'll see that half of it is now kind of temporarily installed. However, the decision's been made. The condition of the left-hand one was in a pretty poor state. The lower half of it had been kind of cut off and a new piece of skin installed, but hadn't been kind of done very nicely and correctly. So the decision's been made this week to make a completely brand new bulkhead instead, which has presented some difficulties and challenges that the boys have managed to kind of resolve quite well, actually. They've kind of devised a rollering system to get the joggles in place throughout the bulkhead. So running through the length of each side of the bulkhead is 3 joggles, which helps on the strength for the bulkhead itself. And so they've kind of invented a means of rolling the 2 halves of the bulkhead to get this joggle in place. And as you can see, they've made it quite well, actually. The original door frame is going to be kept. That's in a reasonable condition, and then the door itself for the lavatory is in a good state, apart from a minor repair will have to be done there where it's been punctured. That's well within the team at Air Heritage Services' capability. So Saturday, and we have another volunteer in today, Dan. He's an aircraft engineer based at Coventry. So he's currently given the task of working out a little riddle that we had, a little problem from a couple of brackets that were manufactured at Bryce Norton by the RAF Structures Bay. These were manufactured just after Christmas, and these are going to hold some of the oxygen gauges that we've sourced. However, the very, very complicated drawing for them has a multitude of angles, which means that these things will rest up against the fuselage, but the fuselage obviously tapers, it's rolled, but for some reason we couldn't get them to sit nice and flush on the skin at all. So today, myself and Dan had a look up in the cockpit to see what was going wrong. So Dan took upon himself to kind of transpose them across, so the left-hand leg went onto the right-hand bracket and vice versa. He's pinned them all together and he's trial fitted them, and they now fit perfectly. So we're really happy that we've kind of solved the issue, and now Dan's making sure now he's riveting everything back together again. And he'll pick up the holes for the rivets, and we're back in business and trying to get these installed in Night Fright. So with this being the pilot's oxygen pressure and flow gauge bracket, now with Dan's work in transposing these little angles across, I think with a bit of luck that's now sitting nice and flush against one rivet line there and a rivet line across there as well, so that's going to look good. Now with the wooden boxes that my father's been manufacturing, which are going to be bolted onto this with the 2 gauges sitting inside them, that's going to return the oxygen system back to how it was back in the 40s. So currently Si's working on installing the brackets which holds the flight control pulleys that runs through the cockpit all the way through the floor down to through the centre section if it's going to be for the ailerons, or all the way back to the tail for the elevators and rudder. It's man hours that needs to be done. However, it's a unglamorous task of working under the floor, and it's for the untrained eye. You know, Night Fright's not changing its look at the moment, but there's loads of man hours being worked at the moment in installing these things in preparation for the flight control cables to be installed, and that's going to be the case for a while now, really, with loads of these, you know, minute little things being installed, which is flight critical for us, but to the untrained eye, yeah, she's not going to change much in looks.